is as far as from Eldoret and even from KNH, Madam Speaker. So this is long overdue. I support it, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Sifuna Edwin.
Madam Speaker, I have noticed a very worrying pattern with the bills that have been coming from the legislative drafters in government offices. And this is a matter that we have raised previously when we were debating other bills that have come before us. The most recent one, of course, was the community health promoters that we dealt with in Turkana. Madam Speaker, this concern is that every time we see these bills, they are creating agencies that are going to oversee devolved functions. But if you look at the composition of that agency that is then created, it is very heavy on national government appointees. And I can see that pattern repeated in this particular bill, Madam Speaker. There is an agency created under Section 5 of this bill called the Digital Health Agency. Madam Speaker, if you go to Clause 8 of this bill, it then tells you who the directors or the board of directors is going to be composed of. And they have been enumerated there from Clause 8A to H. And I can count, Madam Speaker, that out of the 9 people who are supposed to be on this board, 6 are appointees of government, national government, to essentially oversee what is a devolved function. What is more worrying, Madam Speaker, that if you go through other clauses in the bill, you will notice this pattern being repeated. And for me, I honestly cannot sit here as a senator to allow even an inch of what is devolved to be taken away. And I can see that we are slowly by some of the legislation that is being introduced here, chipping away the functions of the county governments and planting them in national government agencies. If you look at Clause 7.2a, Madam Speaker, of that bill, it talks about management and control of the assets of that agency, an agency that is going to oversee devolution. But then there's a proviso to that particular section that says that if that national agency that is managing a devolved function requires to charge or dispose any immovable property, it can only be done with the prior approval of the National Assembly, not of the Senate, Madam Speaker. That tells you that that spirit of clawing back slowly at things that should essentially fall under the mandate of this Senate, under the mandate of the devolved units, is continuing. Madam Speaker, you will go to Clause 15 again. You will see that in establishing a framework for administration and management of the health system, the comprehensive integrated health information system, the agency is only required to consult, not with the governors, the Council of Governors, or anybody else in devolution, not with the Senate. The clause speaks of the agency consulting with the Cabinet Secretary, again, an official of the national government. Madam Speaker, there is more problems that I have seen in this particular bill under Clause 17, where it sets out the main objectives of the system. If the main objectives of the system as per this act, one of them is to make sure that they facilitate data processing and use for informed decision making at all levels, including for resource allocation and management in the health sector. If indeed this is one of the jobs that these people, the agency is supposed to oversee, then if you are using it to determine resource allocation, the people with the resources under devolution are the county governors. If you don't involve them, how are they going to allocate those resources? Further, Madam Speaker, to demonstrate that point even further, under Clause 23, subclause 2, it says the agency shall provide health data to the Cabinet Secretary for relevant action. I have a problem with that. This information, health data, should be given to the primary executors of health services or health function, which is the devolved units, Madam Speaker. Finally, if you look at, there was one more issue that I wanted to raise. It has escaped me. Madam Speaker, under Clause 26, it gives even the Cabinet Secretary a role in establishment of county health data banks. Under 26(1)(a), I do not believe that that is something that the county, the Cabinet Secretary should be involving themselves in. So what we are hoping, Madam Speaker, is that the spirit we saw in Turkana, that the majority side will allow members, in consultation with the minority side, to actually propose amendments, because we would want to end up with a law that actually lives to the spirit of devolution and making sure that there is purity in the execution of each function that has been given to the national government and to the county governments. So, Madam Speaker, I'm hoping that when we come to the committee of the whole, there will be
I think, honorable senators, we are done with the debating part of this bill, and I'll invite the mover of the bill to now respond.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank all our colleagues who have taken time